The last thing would be more about yourself. Any career aspirations you want to let us know, or any more advice for future applicants, or even a plug on AVS if you would like to. Yeah.
Yeah, I get teased a lot for that because I do a bit too much plugging for AVS. But
Really?
yeah, I'd probably say that in terms of my career aspirations, I think that again the species-based system has done me kind of wonders.
Mm-hmm.
That I am trying to make sure that I leave all doors open. So I definitely have preferences in kind of different aspects of medicine or working with specific species, but in that I am trying to make sure I book EMS that is varied to really get a grasp and a breadth of all the opportunities available. And in that, trying to make sure that I don't close any doors too early. And I think that when students come into vet school, too often we can have the perception that we know what we want to do. And I'm sure, as you know yourself, that although it flies in very quickly as a degree, you often chop and change in interests, or as the teaching progresses, you find new kind of more novel topics that really give you a sense of that's what I want to do, or that's what I could see myself doing. And yet a year later, you're looking back and you've got something new in your mind. So for me, I've kind of just tried to make sure I leave doors open. And I think one thing I've loved is we do have this option. We graduate with competence in, or supposed expected competence in every species. And I think, just being mindful that we have the opportunity there. So make sure that we use it.
Yeah.
But I think like you're doing right now, I think if you find passions that you can diversify with the degree, that yourself looking to help prospective applicants and students in the profession, I think it's something very kind of commendatious, if that's a word. I'm trying to think of the right words.
Commendable. Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Commendable. Because I think if we solely focus on just our own ambitions within veterinary, we can lose the broader picture. I got into veterinary because of seeing the impact animals can have on kind of the elderly, with family, and the difference it can make with mental health, with kind of the elderly and depression and loneliness. And decided that I didn't want to sit behind a desk all day. I wanted to do something with an impact. So that's what spurs me, but finding that motivation of what we do, I think, is so important. And that's why I got involved with AVS as well, with the policy side, to try and make an impact for students as you're doing for prospective students now.
That is so cool. Yeah, the human and animal bond is something that I'm really interested in, and I really appreciate it as well, which is also one of my passions to like try. And I guess because I'm kind of on social media and I try to put out information that is like more accurate and like to improve people's opinions and people's perception on how to better take care of their pets. Like I think the human and animal relationship is just so underrated. Like more people should be aware of this and appreciate this. Like we need animals, and the same way like animals need us. And as well as like helping other vet students, because I feel like there are a lot of problems in the vet profession, and I feel like when I applied, I didn't know that, all of these, it's going to be tough, it's going to be difficult, but I didn't know there was like other things to consider. For example, like thinking about euthanasia for the animals, or thinking about approaching difficult stuff. I don't have it on the top of my head right now, but like you get what I mean. So like having these interviews is quite nice, so that students get an insight to be like, oh, okay, actually vet school is like this, and have more realistic expectations, I guess, about what they're getting themselves into.
I think there's the phrase I use a lot in the context of any conversation like this is the power of vulnerability. That when we see someone that is potentially a role model or aspirational or in a position that we want to reach, sharing their experience or sharing their kind of advice, I think it goes a long way. And I think the power we have as vet students right now is that, I don't think we even realise it, is that prospective applicants see us as having already reached that hurdle of getting into vet school, whereas we now look at new graduates, or we now look at vets as having breached the next hurdle, which is obviously getting through vet school. And I think it's a thing we need to always remember, is that perspective is a beautiful thing, that there's always a scenario or circumstance we've come through that we can help others before us. And as I mentioned in the kind of pass me down or pass the torch spirit of the profession, I think and again, I could literally chat all night about this, but I think it's so important that we start early in doing it, because we do have a role to play and students have a strong voice.
And I definitely think like I really appreciate this quote that says like, when you don't see something, you don't aspire to become it. So like if people see that actually, you know, like you took a different alternative route into veterinary medicine, and I applied with minimal work experience, or like there's just, we're not perfect, and then we can still work hard to get to what we want to do. So I think that's quite important.
And don't get me wrong, like so my experience of applying to vet school, I had like several privileges that helped me along the way, in terms of whether it was support from my parents and finances, or it was kind of contacts on local farms that I could go chat towards and get experience. And I think it's important to remember that we all have our own circumstances that we're coming from that affect the balance of how we can apply. So where we may be kind of someone from an inner city background that isn't at a school that is offering the same kind of tuition or level of tuition and support that someone may be receiving at another school, or may have access to somewhere for work experience. I think that's where it becomes a bit of a frustration for me in the application process, that we need a more pragmatic approach to individual circumstances. And I think the quote you've just shared, the one that comes to mind for me, that was shared by co-founder of BVED, Dr. Marisa Robson, was "You can't be what you can't see." And this was in the specific aspect of diversity and inclusion. And I think that quote has quite a profound meaning in just the contextual sense of anyone in the profession that has kind of come through and has an active role to play as a role model. And I think it's so important that we do.
Yeah, and this is so cool. Like I really appreciate that we are talking about this right now. Speaking of inclusion and diversity, have you heard of the app called Zero Gravity?
No, I haven't. No.
So I think Zero Gravity was, I can't remember. It was created by, I can't remember if it was an Oxford or a Cambridge student, but basically it's to help students from disadvantaged backgrounds to apply to university. So it's like a platform where students can sign up. Potential students can sign up as mentees, and then we can sign up as mentors. And then if you put in like a subject, for example, you want to do veterinary medicine, they'll match you with a person who is in that university of your choice. And I recently got matched with someone, because I signed it up just really recently, like 2 weeks ago, and it's completely free for the student, and for us it's just to help them. I don't know how they run the platform, but maybe by donations, not sure. Anyway, so I got my first mentee who is interested to apply veterinary medicine, so I'm really excited, and I'm going to have a chat with my mentee this weekend. So I think it's worth checking out. I'll put it here as well, so people can sign up if they want to help. It's like, sorry?
No, on you go.
Yeah, so it's like you chat with them on this platform, and it's sort of like monitored by a third-party facilitator as well. And then you organize a video call for an hour for them each week, just to help them through like personal statement and like take them through what work experience or depending on your course.
That's amazing to hear, because when I was coming through my application, it was very much just support from my parents that got me through, and I had the common scenario of careers advisors trying to sway you and friends and family trying to sway you. And I think that now I advocate highly for vet students to take part in things like that. And it's not one I've come across, but the kind of major one that I've heard a lot of is kind of STEM ambassadorship. Which I do, and kind of helping students with kind of personal statements and going out and doing talks and trying to engage young students before they make decisions, because we need to, in this aspect of this conversation, we need to reach students before they are making the choice for subjects and exams. And I think it's making sure we have the right role models in the right place. And I think that's where student initiatives really come into it. And there's a fantastic student initiative down in RVC right now called Animal Aspirations.
Oh yes, I've seen that, yes.
I know, they're really doing amazing work, and I'm not involved myself at all, but I have huge admiration for the work they're doing. Hopefully they'll be able to expand across the UK, because as I said, I think it's important that we have the right role models in the right places, because for me to go into, I don't know, a school in a deprived area of Glasgow as someone that's kind of well off middle class, it doesn't make sense because the experience isn't the same, the lived experience isn't the same. So it's about making sure that we really one talk about these things and have the right conversations. The phrase that comes to mind is courageous conversations. We make sure that we're open about them, but at the same time we also make sure that the right support is there for prospective applicants to navigate. And I think role models is a huge part of that, and the right role models is a bigger part.
Definitely, especially as well since veterinary medicine is such a long course, and to make that decision and commitment at such a young age, like it's 16, right, for you guys, or it's 18 for me because I from Malaysia and I start school later. But still, at that age, you're like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with my life, and you commit to this course, and you're like, okay, yeah. So I think it's a big decision, and role models definitely help. Yeah.
And I think as well in that aspect that it can also be like fuel to a fire. That a role model that's further down the line, that as we've discussed, that has been through the experience of navigating vet school and kind of into the wider profession, seeing them do it, coming back to you can't be what you can't see, kind of often gives hope and aspiration. And who knows, it could even further past hope. It could really be the incentive to do more. I know I've definitely been fortunate that I've come across several kind of inspiring individuals just through work with AVS. And even as a vet student now, I have mentors in the profession that don't know they're mentors, but definitely that have left a real imprint on me. And I think that we all have the power to do that.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. Okay, as I predicted, remember we were supposed to keep it to 20 minutes, but it's almost an hour now.
Yeah, I've not been keeping my eye on the clock for that reason. I've been enjoying the conversation.
I've been enjoying it so much as well. Oh, thank you so much. Right, but for the viewers' sake and for my editing job's sake, maybe we should end this around here.
If anyone has any Edinburgh specific questions, they're more than welcome to email me directly if I pass on an email.
Would you like to include your email? I'll put it on the description box there. Right, thank you so much, Calum, for joining us this evening. It's been really fruitful discussion, and if you have any questions, I will pop his email down below. And thank you guys.
No bother at all. Absolute privilege and pleasure.
Okay, I'll stop the recording.